Yeah, because of stuff like this. All right, you guys, you ready to rock and roll? Loaded? Ready? Yes? Fantastic. All right, real quick. I'm Jennifer Bagley, CEO of CIO Up Group. And CIO Up Group's a preferred digital marketing company for Ferguson. And I have with me Scott Smith in the back, right behind the video camera. He's over our video and video marketing production, as well as our social media department. And I have Michael Hicklin, who's our Chief Operating Officer. He also oversees the web design teams, as well as development. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about digital marketing today. How do you guys love it? Loaded question. I feel you. How about we start with a poem? We'll lighten the mood, ease the stress. The digital age requires change. It's complex and different and may feel like pain. The typical advertising agencies are feeling the same, having to pretend they understand code indexing and Google's algorithm change. In order to stay relevant to you, they must say they understand how consumers buy and they can help you reach them this way. The reality is you have to have grown up in this world. To truly compete, it's complex and changes every day. And even if you do everything right, whether you find them online or referred from a friend, at the end of the day, consumers will ultimately go online, do a search, and make their decision based on what everyone else has to say. It's not easy, it's not fast, it's not going away. If you want to be in business 1,000 days from today, change with the times and don't wait for technology to go away. Ferguson, air cold and day and night, invest in their dealers, providing more than a box of goods to sell today. They stand out from the rest, helping you live up to the test of growing your business and not getting left behind. So sit back, unwind, there's lots of new customers to find. Let's reposition your business and make you top of mind. What does this mean to you? Thoughts? You're first. You pick the spot. Need to get with the times. I'll take it. What else?
The future's in digital advertising, and you're relying on older technologies such as the phone book and whatnot. You're going to really be missing out on customers. A lot of marketing today is just done off websites like Yelp or Angie's List, where you rely on reviews, and I think it is important to note that customers will go on and review what your business has done. So you really want to try to control as much of that as you can.
I'm done checking on the rest of you. That was pretty good. I totally agree, you guys. Technology has changed the way that consumers research, the way they analyze companies, the way that they manage referrals. The challenge is if you look on the left-hand side, this is how we feel like technology changes because we're living in it. We feel like it's kind of a slow growth. We're keeping up. It changes, right? Anybody have any toddlers as kids? You hand them an iPhone or something, how do you feel? Slow? Inferior. That's fair. That's fair. The average teenager has a larger network than the majority of business owners that have been in business for 5 years. Challenge is in 1,000 days, those kids will either be our customer, our competitor, our employer, or our employee. And the way that they think, the way they operate, the way they function, it's completely different. Anyone have any teenagers as kids? Yeah? What do they think of Facebook? It's for old people. Right? Isn't that right? I asked my son about email. He said, Mom, that's for dead people. Very interesting. So I pay a lot of attention to them because technically they are reshaping the way that we function, the way that we communicate. Teenagers literally in a 30-day period went from one entire communication device. They were using Facebook for a while, you remember? And in about 30 days, an entire population across the nation decided they were no longer going to communicate with that device anymore. And they went to what? Instagram, then quickly to Snapchat. Just imagine an entire network of your potential customers switching how they communicate. No longer using a phone tomorrow. scares me. It makes me nervous. The rate of technology and how quickly it's changing actually looks more like this. 4 years ago, I stood on stages around the nation and I talked to everyone about what was coming with these. Google had made a request saying your website has to be redeveloped and it has to be mobile responsive. Not have a secondary version of your website, not having a mobile version of your website. It had to be recoded and be responsive because everyone was using these. How many of you have a smartphone with you?
Everybody.
Clear? Yes. 2 years ago, I was standing on stage and I was saying, this is going to change the way people search wearable devices because they can now speak into their wrist and it's going to make recommendations, give them directions, drive in directions like this. Last year for Christmas, the two highest, well, they were in the highest, technology devices that sold for Christmas. Anyone want to guess what they were? Alexa. Do you have an Alexa?
No.
Oh, I love her so much. I miss her desperately when I travel. She does everything. She has my shopping list. She turns my lights on. She turns my heat up. She turns my air conditioning on. I live in Seattle. I don't have air conditioning. She does everything. She finds restaurants. She finds service providers. I can ask her very quickly, Alexa, find me a roofer with the best reviews in Edmonds, Washington. Boom, she gives me a list based on data that she finds in the Google Maps and the review systems. What's Alexa's newest competitor this year? It's the little device right there. What is it? Google Home. Absolutely. You guys, these are AI devices. Mac recently updated all their computers with AI functionality, which means you can talk to it and it'll do what you need it to do. Open this, close this, search for this, look for that, find me the best. And it does everything for you. If I say Siri, it starts talking. Okay? That's changing because the query is different, how people search. When you're on a computer, you may type in AC repair in Riverside, California. When you're talking to a device, you're now having a conversation. It's a much longer query, so it's changing, literally. In the last, let's see here, last year alone, there were over 150 changes to Google algorithm. Some majors, meaning there's penalties for not doing it. Some minors, meaning recommended. That's one search engine. Biggest one, but only one. So what does that mean for a website? How can we look at it? What does that mean for your website? Can it stay the same? It should be constantly changing, constantly updating, absolutely. Right now, I would say the maximum life cycle for any website is about 18 to 24 months, and that's pushing it. In my world, they're moving to something called growth-driven designs, which means that a website is constantly being molded and shape-shifted. You have a rapid application development to get the site live as fast as possible, gather the data. As the requirements come in, the websites continue to change. It's actually a line item on a budget on a monthly basis. It's no longer a one-time investment that hopefully you put in every couple of years. In the last 12 months, so let me just say, do not, Edward, I'm not including, is he in here? I'm not including anything online, okay? And you are not an existing customer of this business. In the last 12 months, how many of you have made a purchase because you saw either a radio ad, heard television, door hanger, flyer, newspaper, magazine in the last 12 months? Raise your hand if you have. What'd you buy? Are you guessing for her? What did you buy? What? Never mind. I'm going to leave that alone. You're good. What did you buy?
Silver coins.
Silver coins. All right, fantastic. No one else. You guys, this is changing. I have video of this exact same kind of audience, much larger, 500 in a room. 4 years ago, probably 30% of the room was still buying that way. And it changed to about 20% and dropped to 10. And as of this year, I have less than 1% of any audience that is now raising their hand for any purchases based on traditional advertising. Scary? But what do we do as business owners? How many of you have invested in any one of these recently in the last year? You don't even have to raise your hand. How do people buy? If you need something, what do? You go online, you do what? Do a search? Perfect. And if you find somebody, then what do you do? Okay? What else? What do you do? Pretty much it. He's like, I don't really need to talk anymore. What do you do? Ask for a referral, someone said? Awesome. And if you get a referral to a company or a product or a service, what do you do next? Let me ask you this. If you get a referral from a trusted colleague or friend to a company, how many of you are going to go Google that company or product or service before you call? Raise your hand and look around. Raise them high so everyone can see. The day that I can say my business is entirely based on referrals and I can neglect my internet presence is gone. The challenge is you can't even argue it because everyone that raised their hand simply said, I wouldn't even make the call, which means right now you don't even know how much business you never got. That was value. I mean, you're ace in the hole, a referral, right? So we've got to be very, very careful that we are intentionally positioning ourselves to be able to close that business, to be able to be there when someone's doing a search, to be able to be an option, at least. Would you agree? We need to get good at it. And the challenge is it's a little challenging. Okay. How many of you feel like you know what your future looks like? You've got a good exit strategy, or you know what the end looks like in your business? Anyone done that planning? Okay, so why'd you start your business? What'd you get into business for? 3 reasons. They're all the same. Everyone picks the same thing. What are the 3? Money. Perfect. Next. You want more? Starts with a T. Time. Perfect. Next one starts with an F. Freedom. All right. Everybody gets into business for the same 3 things. I want more time, more money, more freedom. Does it feel like you have any of the 3? I'm just saying. I get you because I'm in the same world. I get it. So we've got to, in order to know or to even start planning, we got to know exactly where we are, where we want to be, and then we can put together a plan. Would you agree? So those are things we need to consider. The great part about digital marketing is it levels the playing field. Literally makes it so a small company can compete with a large company and a consumer will technically never know. That's the beauty of it. The very first thing we have to do is we have to alter the way we think. I can take 2 companies, 2 clients of ours, same area, sell the same product, same service, same price, same everything. One constantly like, the economy, the this, the that. I'm not even going to go down that list. And the other one is like, okay, we're making progress. I see the numbers changing. We're making progress. And they're positive. The results are technically the same between the 2 companies. What's the one differentiating factor? It's mindset. It's how they think. Absolutely. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fast. And it's not going to go away. If we resolve to know that, we can create a plan that's going to work and it's going to continue to progress. Now, you guys have a little bit of a challenge because, one, you have one of the biggest targets, I think, on your back that I've ever seen in any industry. You guys have every scam artist calling you from around the globe, trying to sell you their bells, widgets, whistles, the promise of future glory, $200. In fact, Google calls you, right? Does Google call you? Daily. Google will never call you. We're certified with Google, and we can't call them. They don't have a call line. These are scammers. I often record them, put them up on YouTube, and then they call and tell me to take them down. So strategically, you guys have a challenge. How do you evaluate? Who do you do business with? What works? What doesn't work? So I'm going to help you guys go through some kind of logical thinking as far as how to analyze what you should avoid, and then help prioritize what the infrastructure should look like, and we'll help put together a strategy. Sound good? All right. So first is strategy. You guys, all these salespeople come to you with bells and whistles and wears and tears. They don't do the work. They're not digital marketers. They're salespeople with great, graph of fancy charts and everything else. I don't like listening to salespeople from advertising companies, and I really don't care about their about their charts and graphs. What I want to know is, how do consumers buy? I want to know how you think as mom, dad, homeowner, or influencer of your parents or influencer of your children. That's what matters, because consumer trends are changing faster than their demographics and charts and graphs. So we've got to have complete clarity on where we want to go, where we are, which means we need to do some analysis. You guys, on a regular basis, minimum of twice a year, you got to be doing a full-on, we call it a SWOT analysis. It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Digging into the code, digging into your website, digging into your local listings, your positioning, your reviews, and finding out, is there anything out there that is a strength that you need to capitalize on, that's a weakness that you need to modify, that's an opportunity you need to go after, or a threat that potentially could be eliminating your entire budget for the things you're doing that should be working, but they're not. An example, I have a client, 200 key phrases on page 1 of Google in position 1 through 3. Can't get a phone call. What do you think? Why? Any thoughts on what would cause that? 3 bad reviews on Google. He only had 2 positive ones on there. His average rating was less than 2.8, think. So they just don't call. So we have to be aware, we have to be monitoring these things. And he's not responded to any of them. But he also very difficult to get him to show up for strategy sessions, where we would actually go through that and we would find those things, identify them, and figure out a plan to fix it. So planning, critical. You guys have to do the right things in the right order at the right time. Anything you do backwards, it's not in the right order, it's going to dilute your investments and it's going to hurt your overall results. If I go invest in a big marketing campaign and my website looks like I hired my 12-year-old to do it, they're out. If I invest in a pay-per-click plan and I send them to my website with 900 pages on it, a blog and links and everything else, you lose them. They're out. If I have a great website, beautiful website, and my social media account the last time we posted was 2014, what do they think? You're closed. So literally there's this infrastructure. It has to be perfect and it has to be done in a sequential order, so that every dollar, every investment, every ounce of time and energy that you spend on any marketing activities is going to produce maximum efficiency for that investment. Make sense? All right. Positioning, critical. What do you look like when you Google your company name? What do you look like when you Google your company name with the word reviews after it? Because that's what people do. If somebody is searching for AC repair, AC installation, AC service, AC maintenance, AC tune-up, furnace heat, furnace tune-up, furnace maintenance, furnace service, furnace installation, furnace replacement in the city you have a physical address in and the surrounding cities around it, are you there? Those are emergency calls. Those are people that know they're going to make a decision quickly. We're not even talking about the person who just bought a new house. Inspector said air conditioning heating system is bunk. You might last for 2 years. You're going to need to replace it. You've got a little time, buy the house, but you should replace it. And they're going to start doing research well in advance. They're going to start asking questions, finding out about brands and products and what they should be looking at. So a blog that has content, your ability to sell, it's your voice, your content. That's going to help you position yourself in front of those people already looking for what you sell every day. The best part about your industry is most everybody does not do well digital marketing wise. You guys have a killer opportunity to nail it. Killer opportunity. Because most contractors are being sold on Yelp and Yodel and go into lots of them. And they dump all their eggs in one basket. Sometimes they get websites that are clone sites, duplicate sites, penalty sites, duplicate content. Yellow Pages website, they print catalogs that are booster seats, fire starters. Okay, so we got to be really careful. We have to make sure you have the right technology. Websites are just like cars. You can have a beautiful body on the outside, a horrid engine on the inside, things not running. If it doesn't have interior, you have nowhere to sit. Okay, that is the design, which is the presentation layer. The code, which is the back office of it, it's what makes the site function. It has to meet thousands of requirements. And the interior is content. Do you have a voice? Do you have content that matches exactly what consumers are looking for in the places they're looking? No voice, no game. No content, no game. Can't play the game. So network, who are you surrounded by? This is who's your target audience. This is who are you listening to. This is who you're getting advice to. Anybody ask the wrong person for the right information? It's like asking Uncle Bob, who's dead broke, about money. We do it all the time. We have to be very careful. The left side, we're not here yet. Okay, we're going to focus on the right side. The left side is when you're really a power player. So you've been doing this for a little while. You got the infrastructure in place and you're really going to town. You're becoming the authority in your network. You're making sure that you leverage technology to convert time to cash, to reduce operating expenses, reduce labor, not have to do those repetitive and duplicate processes you may be employing people to do that technology can do for you. Making sure you're utilizing automation to stay in touch with existing customers, past clients, to do some of your upsells for you, to target the list of every lead and opportunity that's ever contacted you. You gave them a quote, they didn't pursue it because maybe it's a financial issue, and you have the automation set up to notify them when there's an amazing rebate coming from your manufacturer. Maybe there's incentives for tax credits, maybe there's a great financing program available, or all three. How many of you have a database of leads and opportunities in addition to your existing customers? Are they valuable? They're very valuable. Very, very valuable. But a lot of times we only collect customer data. Okay, so we got to get the right systems in place to make sure you guys are set, ready to rock and roll. Conversions evaluation, we'll come back to that. The simple version is this. Your website, that's where they convert. That's your home base. It's also what increases the valuation of your company if you were to sell. How well it's designed, the presentation of it, how easily it's navigated, how informative it is, how dynamic it is. Do they have anything they can do on there? Does it immediately turn them on, turn them off? Does it make them feel warm and trust, or does it be like, equipment? Or do they feel good? Different personality styles float different ways. You guys know people that are a little bit more on the sensitive side, right? They tend to make an emotional decision before a technical decision. People that are more technical or engineers' minds, they're going to do more research. They want something different. More is better. Next is content. That's your voice. Okay, we'll come back to that. Next, how do you get found? You got to market it. Your website's not going to do a lot on its own. If you have a gorgeous website, let's say worst case scenario, the only thing you do is you have a proper website in place, at least the efforts you put into going out and hunting for business, getting referrals, at least you're going to convert more business because when they get there, they're comfortable. But you got to market it. And we can't just market it one way. We can't put all our eggs in one basket. I'll explain more. And reviews, ultimately, what other people say about you matters. It matters to you as a consumer. It matters to your potential customers. So we've got to take a more proactive and streamlined approach to being able to capture a review at the right time, display and market a review in the right place at the right time. I will get into that shortly. Your website is not just about lead generation. It can't be. So if we go back to why'd you get in business, time, money, and freedom, that means we need to increase profits. The only way to increase profits, we have to decrease expenses, increase our revenue, and have a higher what? Profit. That's going to get you closer to time, money, and freedom. So when you're thinking about your website, it needs to be more than just lead generation. You need to think about how is it going to provide better customer service? How is it going to help me with recruiting as my business grows? How can I collect resumes, optimize my company for different phrases related to technicians and service techs and so forth that I'm trying to hire or will need to hire in the future? You don't want to wait until you need it. We learned that the hard way with our HVAC dealers. First 2 years in business, we didn't concentrate on a way for them to be able to bring on new staff. Year and a half into it, things are booming. They call us up, turn off all the marketing. Turn off. We can't do it. We're not even getting back. We're starting to see leads coming in and people saying we haven't received a call back. We haven't received this. No. So we need to think about that right up front. Operations. Operational efficiencies. Anything that's a duplicate process, a redundancy, something you should be doing but you're not. How can we get the technology to help you with that? I promise you it's a lot less expensive than human capital. And they don't take vacations, call in sick, and play hooky. Is a good part. Upsales. You guys doing an installation of a new system. You have other things they might be interested in, but you don't want to overwhelm them at the table, right? But it doesn't mean they're not interested in a new thermostat. It doesn't mean they're not interested in their kids got allergies. They need indoor air quality, right? Lead generation, financing, maintenance agreements. How many of you have a formal maintenance agreement? Raise your hand. How many of you have it set up to where it's residual? You don't have to go bill and resell the customer on an annual basis. Credit cards automatically billed. Fantastic. Residual income, key to being able to deal with your guys' 70 degrees, windows down, hair blowing in the breeze. It's key. It's critical. Same thing with having that database you can go back to regarding tune-ups and maintenance and so forth, prepping for the next season. Anybody ever hired like Bob, the guy, to build your website? Just him, just one. How'd that go? I'll leave it alone. Think about it this way. Okay, I'm just going to cover 2 resources to start. To build a website, a designer. So sometimes people will say, I got my graphics designer to build it. I'm like, oh, awesome, an arts degree. They'll do great with Google's code requirements. That's an arts degree. They design in Photoshop. Their living rooms are pretty. They have real friends. They hang out with real people on Friday night, right? Their garages for cars, not computers in secondary offices. A developer, totally different. Anybody known a coder? Anybody know one? What do they like? One word. Task-oriented. What else? Analytical. Allison, one word. Nerd. Perfect. I'll take it. They're weird. I love them, but they're odd, right? Friday night, I'm like, what are you guys doing tonight? Oh, hanging out with friends. I'm like, cool. Where are you going? Like, no, man, we got a competition online. There's like 900 of us from around the world competing for this. I'm like, why is your best friend's name Toxic M64? They're different. And then that's not even enough. You have to have an engineer. An engineer, what are they like? Anybody know any engineers? How do they think? Analytical, yes. Do they make quick decisions? Are they going to guess? No, you can't get them to guess for anything. They're like, I'm not even answering that question. Where's the data? Where's the data? Where's the data? Give me the data. You got to push them, make a move. Right? They're slow processors. They're thinking that's your SEO engineers. All data. It's mathematical, everything. It's not perception. It's not how you feel about something. They don't think like that. If you're like, oh, I want it to pop. They're like, huh? They don't think like that, right? So this cannot be done by one person. Can't hire a marketing person, bring them in-house and say, you know what, I want you to be good at design, content writing. Oh, by the way, when you write your content, I need you to write it for authority and conversions, but I also need you to write it for SEO because I need you to meet Google's keyword density, make sure you have a high percentage of keywords, and you don't go over the limit, under the limit. Need you to make sure that H1 tags, H2 tags, make sure your LIs or your list items are done properly in order for Google to index content. It's like, they're gone. Social media, right? They're gone. And in addition to that, they don't understand strategy, business strategy, how to run a business, how it impacts operations, logistics, the difference between the sales and customer service side of the business, the operational side of the business does not happen. So this process of marketing, it's big. We have a program, it's called the 12-Step Roadmap to Achieve Accelerated Results, and it helps put things in order, the infrastructure. First, obviously, website and branding. You guys are selling to people that want things fast. They want high tech. They want easy. Getting an air conditioner installed or repaired, do you think it's a great item on their list of things to do? They're excited about it. Do they have a lot of time to take care of it? Just think about the average homeowner. How busy are you guys? Everybody's busy. Your customers are just as busy, right? They got demands from work. They got demands from their kids. They got demands from their spouse. They got home things they got to take care of. They're swamped. The likelihood of them getting to this task is probably going to be midnight. So if you're not open, what is? What should be? Your website should be open. Should be open for them to schedule an appointment to talk to you on Tuesday at noon on their lunch break. They'll fill out a heck of a lot less forms. You won't have 3 competitors right out the gate like you just got a thumbtack lead, $70 a pop, 19 people calling on the same lead. Ouch. Never one done that. All right. Next, content. Next, CRM and conversions. That's what I was saying. Online scheduling, a CRM system, every lead, every opportunity, every customer in one database. So if it's 70 degrees, hair blowing in the breeze, you can easily grab that database, export everybody out of it, drop it into an email marketing system, shoot them a message about why it's important for them to get a tune-up right now. Oh, and by the way, you can add the link so they can schedule it online today. Yes? Easy, easy. Technology will make your life so much easier. Search engine optimization, critical. Blogging, critical. Google cares about 3 things, same 3 things your clients care about. So outside of Google has like 1,000 requirements prior to caring about these 3 things. Are you relative? Meaning, are you relative to the exact search and location that the customer is looking for? No different than a client would want to know, do you sell what I need where I need it? Fair? Second thing Google wants, are you current? New and frequent content being added to your website. If you throw it up like it's a brochure and leave it, it's not current. No different than a consumer wants to know, are you guys educated? Are you getting educated? Do you have the best technology? Do you have the best devices? Are you at the top of the line, right? The third thing Google wants to know is, are you trusted? Exact same thing that your customers want to know. Are you trusted to Google? Means, do you have reviews online? Do you have link building or backlinks to your website? Are your social media accounts active and current and engaged? Do other people like and participate with you? It's identical. So once you have those three things, it's actually really easy to make a marketing plan. So reviews, local listings. There are some things in marketing in today's environment that are, you just got to get it done, because Google is evaluating and authenticating your business based on some things. So I'll show you a little bit about local listings. You mentioned them before. You said Yelp, Merchant Circle, City Search, Google Business Listing, Yahoo Business Listing, Bing Business Listing. We can keep going. White Pages, Yellow Pages. There's tons of them. There's actually 70 local listing sites that Google is evaluating, in addition to your domain registrar details and your website, to say if you're a valid company. If the information is wrong across all of those things, missing, not accurate, Google's evaluating the website and saying, I can't really validate this company. So we got to make sure that stuff's right. Social media, you got to do it. At least you got to look like you're alive. Can you build a business on social media? Absolutely. However, right now you've got predecessors. Don't invest in a third-party technology before you invest in yourself. You own that website. It appreciates. It has value. That's your baby. You should and you better own it. I'll say that. Okay. So social media, you can do that. Every one of these sites, Google Business Listings, social media sites, Facebook came up with a massive algorithm change. This is in the last 30 days. It's going to devalue anything that has a call to action in it. So that's a problem. They're boosting. It made it so that if you put content on an image when you're trying to boost it, you can't boost it. That's done. So algorithms change. How these technology systems look at what you're doing is going to change. So make sure you don't get complacent and you don't do or rely on just one thing. Then we have pay-per-click landing pages, video marketing, email marketing, mobile app. That's next. That's later. Infrastructure first. I have another poem for you. Okay? Content. It's currency. It's your voice online, your ability to speak. It has hashtags and labels so it can be filed neatly. Why? Because people want to be able to find things easily. It's endorsed by many trustworthy sources. It's been around a while. It allows me to be so resourceful. I expect to find anything I need online, and I will start looking when it's time to unwind. You might be closed, and that's okay because your website's still open while you sleep the night away. I personally like videos. My husband likes blogs. I'll read the reviews. He'll check the FAQs. All of the technical jargon just freaks me out. Without a translator, I can't figure it out. I just want to know you care. Whatever product or service you sell, you should try wearing a disguise and seeing it through my eyes. If you can treat me like family, I will be raving. A fan, of course, so don't leave without getting my feedback. I will surely endorse. Just make it easy so I don't have to click the next result. What does that mean to you? Thoughts? In the red. Second table from the back. Beautiful lipstick, hair glowing. What does it mean to you?
It just means you have to make yourself present at the company, and your feedback and what people are saying about you, and it all has to measure up.
Okay, good.
Real quick, we get pushed aside for the next person.
Absolutely, I agree. The no eye contact thing just doesn't work. Right there. Necklace, cross, chain, gray, shirt. Anything. Give me something. Let me ask you this. How many of you would rather watch a video versus read a blog article? Raise your hands and look around. How many of you would rather read the article than watch a video? Raise your hands and look around. Okay, how many of you would rather read a headline, 140 characters on Twitter versus Look at an image on Facebook. Any Twitter fans? I will tell you this. Everyone is different. Everyone is different. So one of the things that can hurt you the most is trying to market your business based on how you work, how you think, and what you do. There's a big population of people out there, and everybody's very, very different. You agree? All right. So you guys have heard a lot of information from Ferguson, Day and Night Air Cooled, about the programs that they have. They're pretty astounding, huh? So they've really done an incredible job. You guys have been working with HVAC manufacturers, distributors, and dealers for almost 12 years now. And I have not seen a program that's been put together as well as what they've done. It's really incredible. So they touched on a piece, which is the digital marketing piece. And so first off, let me do this. You guys take out, grab your cell phones real quick. And I want to make sure you get a copy of the document I'm going to go over because it's really tiny. I know I can't see it from here. So I'm going to go over it, but I also want to make sure you guys get a copy of it. So what you're going to do, open up your text messages. And in the number area, you're just going to type in 44222. And in the message area, type the word Ferguson, no quotes, and hit send. So in the number area, just type in 44222. And in the message area, type in the word Ferguson, hit send. You're going to get a text message back. And it's going to say, please reply with only your email address. So just type your email address in there, hit send. And then you guys are going to get a copy of, one, you're going to get a copy of this document. Two, you're going to get a link to download the Ultimate HVAC Marketing Guide, which is an ebook that we've written when you're really bored. You want your head to go thump, 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 thump. And three, you guys are going to get invited to our webinar series. We do a webinar once a month for Ferguson HVAC dealers. And you guys will get an invitation that if you register for the webinar and you cannot attend, that's fine. You're always going to get a copy of that webinar once it's done. So at least you'll have it. Would you guys agree that you at least need to be aware enough about all of this marketing stuff to make better decisions or ask better questions? That's important because I know how it feels. In my company, I have the same thing. Sometimes my nerds start talking. I'm like, look, just get it done. I don't want to know about it. And they're like, you have to know about it. I'm like, my brain doesn't have any more space. Out of room. All right. But you guys, you got to know enough. Just enough. You know, it's got to be a collaborative movement. Okay. So part of the Elite Dealer Program, and what you guys have an opportunity to participate in, includes the infrastructure, some of the things that I'm doing. What we did is we sat down and we went through and looked at the majority of dealers that are in the marketplaces. We analyzed where they're sitting, what's working, what's not working. Plus, we've obviously got 12 years of experience, so we can do this with our eyes closed in HVAC. We put together a program. There's 3 levels. So standard, essentially you guys are committing to doing between $50,000 and $100,000 in day and night equipment sales. You would invest $3,000 per year, and you will get what would normally cost our preferred dealers 18 to 20 grand annually in marketing services, technology, and so forth, including some third-party subscriptions we have to pay for. 18 to 20 grand. That's not our retail. That's a third of our retail. So if somebody came to us off street, it's a attorney. I just had a real estate company come today. It'd be 2/3 more. You'll probably have around 20 different people from various departments, from design, development, our engineering, SEO, on-page optimization, off-page optimization, our content writers, content editors, our social media marketers, social media content writers, social media graphics designers, a project manager, and a business strategist. I'm sorry, 2 project managers and a business strategist on your project, which is what you need. You need like 10% of a bunch of really talented people, not 100% of one. Elite plan is $100,000 to $250,000 in commitment, sales commitment, $4,500 a year, and you're around the $25,000 mark. Platinum 250,000 plus in day and night equipment sales, 6,000 a year, and you're around the 26 to 30,000. Okay. This is how this works. Year one, we're focused solely on infrastructure, and we do it in one swoop. All the stuff that seems like overwhelming and that take you years to figure out and get it fixed, we're going to knock it out. So it's making sure you have a proper website put in place, your local listings are set up. Actually, I'll go over the details. It's making sure all of the basics that you need, boom, you're ready to play ball. Those are done. The second thing, in year two, we don't have to build and design a website, so we're going to take those that percentage of that investment, we're going to reallocate it to search engine optimization, on-page blogging, on-page optimization, link building, getting you to page one of Google for more phrases, getting your phone to ring. Year three, the technology we built is already outdated. We're going to replace the technology, make sure you stay up to date. And we're going to keep doing this cycle year over year. That is a progressive marketing plan, something that's going to continue to build and continue to grow. What's included in that? First, we do a custom design website, sliders, promotional graphics. You'll have a bunch of functionality that we have built that's going to make you stand out. Your sites are going to stand out from anyone else. So we built a SARE calculator, which helps calculate energy savings, what their savings is for having a higher efficiency system. We've built an online troubleshooting system to keep you guys from getting a service call, going out, changing a battery and a thermostat, sending them a bill, and getting a negative review. They hate that. Consumers, it's one of the quickest ways to get a negative review is to flip a breaker, switch a battery, and that's my mother. Let me move her. So that's quick. The second way, obviously, is don't show. Don't show up for an appointment. That's a real quick way to get a negative review. So we want to avoid those. It's no good doing a bunch of positive work and having something negative pull back from it. You're also going to have an FAQ page, testimonials area, which that's weak. I'll explain why and what you should do instead of that. A promotions area, sign up for our maintenance page, also a jobs and careers page. You guys should have a "we're hiring" sign on your website at all times. We've learned that the hard way. That's now in all of our basics. You'll also have content transfer from your existing website, so everything you already have that is not duplicate content or hurting you. So we will do a full analysis on 100% of your content and evaluate what on that site that you already have should never be transferred anywhere. It's duplicate. You can get penalized for that. There's a couple things. So there are some advanced technologies that are recent requirements that came out that are very, very important. One of them is called AMP. Anyone heard of that? Okay, it's accelerated mobile pages, and it's a huge project. All the news and media sites, if you're on your phone and you're searching for kind of news-based stuff, you're going to see a listing pop up, and underneath it, it's going to have a little box, and it says AMP, accelerated mobile page. When you tap that, it instantly renders the page. So blogs are really heavy. They're hard to get to render, so they weigh sites down and they make it hard to load. That hurts your SEO or your rankings. So AMP's a new coding structure. We're doing that. Also, Google came out with a new coding structure for HVAC specifically called schema coding. And I'm going to show you what that does. Wildly important. That will change the layout of your business. Also, so hosting, support, maintenance, we take care of that on your site. The Elite and the Platinum plan also have admin hours. So if you want to give us a ring or send in a request and say, hey, change out this slider or put up this ad or throw up this promotion, you can always log in and do it yourself, but you can always use those admin hours as well. Number of pages to transfer, sliders designed, promotional graphics, content writing. So if you don't have content for the primary key phrases for the services regarding day and night products, we're going to write that content for you. We're going to have an authority writer write it, and then an SEO engineer modify it, and a copywriter edit it. So it'll be high-end content, and it's going to be for your primaries. So AC service, AC repair, AC installation, replacement, maintenance, tune-up, same thing on the heating side. That way we know that content's there. If you have additional content you need us to write, you can absolutely add that on. You'll have an online CRM system, online scheduling system. All those leads and opportunities go into one database. It has a My Account area. It's cool. I'll show you in a minute. We'll also set up the majority of the local listings, and we'll take care of all the subscription fees. So, you know, if you contact these local listing companies, they ask you to pay in order to update your information, make sure it's accurate, maintain it. So it adds up to like $2,500 a month if you were to pay all the subscriptions. We buy them in bulk so that we can do more companies. Inside this, for the local listings, we will also monitor all of those local listings. Anytime you get a review, good, bad, or indifferent, you get a real-time notification and a recommendation to reply. So you'll no longer be in the dark about reviews that are coming in. You'll get notified every time one comes in. In addition, we'll also do what's called, well, let me say this. One of the biggest scams for lead gen in HVAC is you'll have a competitor or an ex-employee that goes out, creates a local listing with your brand name, your company, and their phone number. The bigger brand you have, the more highly likely that is. So you never want to stop looking at that. You want to monitor that 24/7, make sure. So we have monitoring things that, and a practice called duplicate suppressions. If somebody comes in, tries to snag one of your listings, we're going to suppress that duplicate. We'll see it. We get lists of them every single day. We do duplicate suppressions. Google Business Listing. We're going to make sure you guys are set up properly on Google Business Listings, which is the #1 most important and critical place or listing to get reviews outside of your website. Website is #1, and I'll explain that, but Google Business Listing is next. Facebook, we'll also make sure your Facebook is alive and well. When they go there, it's professionally branded, the information is accurate, and you have content so that you never have people turned away. For the Elite and Platinum Elite, we'll also take care of posting to a Twitter account, making sure that's branded properly as well. Now, in the first year, even though SEO is not necessarily our focus, we want to get you started with a good SEO plan. There's a lot of energy going to a whole bunch of infrastructure things that need to get set up. So we'll start off on a entry-level SEO plan. We'll have 4, 6, or 8 key phrases in your plan. You can always add more. I've got dealers that started a year ago, started with 4, now they have over 60. Part of that includes optimizing those pages on your website, which is the right labeling. Part of it includes link building. And then in year 2, that grows extensively. I highly recommend adding more phrases. We'll also write blog content. So no matter which program you're on, you'll at least have new content coming onto your site on a monthly basis. Google Analytics setup, reporting, SEO reporting, local listings reporting. Bottom line is, you guys are going to know what's being done. You guys are going to have access to the reports that showcase these are the key phrases that we've been enlisted to be able to get to rank. So there's nothing behind the screens. You guys can see everything that we're doing, participate as much or as little as you want outside of in your web design. If you decide to do this program, we got to do some math. So right now we're in what, February? In February. When's it going to get warm? Yeah, we're getting there. When's AC start really kicking in? May? So we have 60 days to get your website done before you guys become unavailable, uncooperative, and will not answer our phone calls anymore. I'm just being real. Okay? I love you much, but you will disappear and your website will sit there and we will be like, grah. Okay? So you only really, because we know what we're doing, there's not a lot you have to do. We just need you to sign off on and approve 5 steps. The design, the content, and the development. Make sure we have your logins and passwords so we can go live, and we need a final approval to go live. We need 5 things. And other than that, and we don't care if it's evenings or weekends or whatever you need in order to get it done, we'll make sure it gets done. All right? In the second year, the areas in yellow, those are the ones. So it changes. The second year, we're not building a website this time. Now we're going to focus on way more key phrases, increase those, content, on page, off page, link building, and so forth. And then we're going to get into that cycle of being able to build the business. Make sense? Anybody have any questions? Thoughts? All right. So we have 15 minutes, right? Is lunch at 12:30? So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a couple of the sites so you can get an idea. At 12:30, we're going to go to lunch. You guys are going to grab food, come back in. We can have a working lunch? Okay. We're going to have a working lunch. You guys can volunteer your sites or people you don't like sites, whichever. Totally don't care. And I will go through and I'll do an analysis on those, a basic one, to give you an idea on what to look for. Things that are like, oh, I didn't know that. At least to increase awareness so you guys are like, okay, need to think about this. And you guys can ask questions. Of course, it's really interactive. So this is Master Tech. We started this project probably, 7 months ago, I think. They've been online maybe 7 months. So when you get to a site, you have a half a second to showcase a lot of information. Who you are, what you do, where you do it, how to reach you, 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 what other people think about you, instantly. If you don't hit those things right out of the gate in the top half of the site, your conversion rate's down by 50%. You immediately have 50%. If people have to hunt, sift, sort, if they're questioning, if they're not sure, people are quick to bounce. They will leave. So the design is really, really important. As you get into other areas of site, this is the troubleshooting system I was talking to you about. It continues to expand. We're not going to send anybody into an attic, but the basic things they can do, they can flip a switch, they can check the battery, they can make sure it's on, they can make sure the breaker's on. This system was originally intended to reduce the amount of negative reviews that were coming in from these quick changes. And what it's actually done is increase the number of minutes that the consumers are staying on the site because they're using it. It's also gotten consumers to bookmark an HVAC site. Odd. So we've seen messages come in where a customer will send a message to one of our dealers and say, hey, we don't need to have that appointment. I didn't realize our breaker switch was off. We flipped it back on. Thank you so much. I bookmarked your site. I'll definitely use you again. That's perfect. That'll save you time, energy, everything. So that's been a really big plus. If this resolves the problem, it's going to say, thanks, glad we could help. Bookmark our site and feel free to use the system again. If it doesn't resolve their problem, then it's going to say, schedule your appointment. You need to talk to an expert. Schedule an appointment. Very careful use of design and containers. A lot of times websites I look at in HVAC, they're pretty messy. They're kind of all over the board. You can tell, it was probably a triple F that designed it. You know what triple Fs are? I guess. What is it? Guess one. Website looks bad, a triple F. One of the Fs. Friend, perfect. What else? Family, that'll work. And fools. Or you can make up the last one on your own. Okay. I've heard felons. I've heard lots of things. Okay, so we're going to make sure it needs to be clean. Clean. Good use of images from a design standpoint. Also, from a functionality standpoint, you want to make sure it's interactive. So we were at a conference, probably 3 months ago. One of our clients was in there, and he came up, and he was like, I'm irritated as all get out. He was like, oh, what's wrong? He was like, I'm sitting next to this guy. He's a competitor of mine. He's down the street, and he tells me he uses my website to sell his services all day. He just pulls it up on an app, and he stretches it out, and he uses the SARE calculator. I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, I just want to tell you, he's wearing a red cap, and he has a white polo shirt on. Don't talk to him. I was like, okay. So things like this, that's going to help. When you sit down with the client, we got to get really, really good about asking information that's going to help us sell in the future. Not just right now, but gathering that data, keeping that data, sorting it, and being able to sift it so we can sell in the future. Maintenance plans, very important. Financing, what customers are saying, the ability to submit a review, and all basic information. Little things like your phone number. It's got to be a click to call. If you have a phone number on your website and you can't tap that, that drives people crazy. Anybody done a search from their phone and you can't tap that number and you're like, oh, next, right? It makes you crazy because most of the time you're driving, you shouldn't be. At a stoplight, you only have a second, right? Okay, so there's one sample. What you'll notice on here, and I'm going to take you to the next one. This is another one. These guys are in Northern? Upland, right? Northern Cal? Okay, Upland. So what you're going to notice, this is what responsive means. So if you grab the side of a site, this is the easy way to tell if a site's responsive, and you start shrinking that site down, you're going to see the website literally reshape itself until it fits and it keeps its aspect ratio on any size device, whether it's a phone or a tablet, 7-inch, 10-inch, and so forth. Thank you. Awesome. Pull that one. Thank you, thank you. You want me to pull this up? You want me to show this one now? Okay. All right, so when you get in here, same thing. Making sure that you have the right content. So think about Google like a giant filing system. We'll cover all this in depth during lunch. Every page has to be labeled perfectly for Google to place this website inside a drawer. So think of it like a filing cabinet in your office. You guys seen Bruce Almighty? The movie, you remember? Okay, so he's standing in this warehouse, God's in there, and he says, anything you've ever thought, anything you've ever said, anything you've ever done is in this drawer, right? And this drawer flies across this entire warehouse. When you go type in a phrase, where am I at?
Riverside.
Where? Oh, Riverside. We've been in a few cities lately. When you go type in a phrase, it opens that drawer in that warehouse. Just remember that. So if you have one page in the drawer, you've only got one shot. If you have 10 pages related to that phrase in the drawer, which is why you have a web page and a blog, you own and occupy more space. So in order for you to make any money for this phrase, you have 3 opportunities to do it, potentially 2. Option number 1, you can pay for pay-per-click. I'll go into that in detail after lunch as far as the most effective ways to do that. Option number 2 only works if you have a physical listing in that city that they're in and they're looking for. Otherwise, this is not available. That's Google Maps. It only works if you have the highest, most frequent, and the best reviews in that city. There's only going to display 3. So there has to be a very focused process and system internally to make sure that you have the most amount of reviews in that particular city. You create enough buffer space, then you can work on something else, but that's critical. So notice these are 10, 17, 14. That's not big competition to me. I'm down for that. We can beat that. You can call your friends and family and do that at Christmas. I'm just saying. So the third one is Google search, which is SEO. There's always 10 results, at least right now there is. There's 10 results that are going to show up on this page. This is organic placement. In order to get your phone to ring, the click-through rate by position is as follows. 18% for page 1, position 1, 10% for page 1, position 2, 7% page 1, position 3, and then we go 5, 4, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And nothing on page 2. So you need to be number 1 of that number, 442,000. Okay, the bigger the number, the longer it takes and the more energy you put into it. The smaller the number, the faster you can get ranked. That number is also related to population typically. So in a higher populated city, let's go, I'll show you this one with intention. So if I go to Sacramento, population goes up, so does the number of competitive pages. Now we have 870,000. I want you to notice something on this page. Anybody notice something that looks totally different than what we saw on the other page?
One location on that map.
The map? Okay. What about it? What is
that whole box right there is sponsored, right? That's what it is.
Yes. This is why you never bank on one activity, ever. Google Business Listings in Sacramento pulled Google Maps free version, pulled it, gone. We had clients in that area that we specifically said, don't bank 100% on anything. Please, you need to have a more comprehensive marketing plan. Nah, we're good. We get so much business from Sacramento, our Google Maps, blah, blah, blah. And literally in a day, their business phone calls shut off. One day, Google decided the map's gone. We're going to try something new. We're going to test out this thing that's sponsored and Google verified or Google guaranteed, which means you paid to get there. And you got to meet Google's requirements in order to even be able to participate in that. And now it's pay-per-click. So that's gone here. Not just here, but it's spreading in California. Spreading. And it's spreading quickly. So everybody that was banking on getting reviews on Google Business Listings and Google Maps that is in any of these cities, as Google continues to roll out this test further and further outside of those areas, is either revamping their entire model and now creating a pay-per-click budget for Google Business Listings or the maps, or that's no longer part of their funnel. So if you have funnels, if you have leads coming in from referrals, leads coming in from 10 phrases, 20 phrases, 100 phrases, leads coming in from Google Business Listings, social media, depending on how good you are in all these different areas, those are your funnels, and one funnel shuts off. If it's a big one, that hurts. So we have to be very, very careful. So it's 12:27. How about we pause here? Is food ready? Okay, you want to give, and then we'll come back and we'll go to town.
Okay, so just a couple of housekeeping notes. Where you registered, before you leave, you need to see Lori to get your parking validated, or unless you just like to spend money, then you can pay for your own. But it's free if you get her to stamp your ticket. One thing that we didn't talk about on both the dealer program and the CI web program, the cost of those are billed to your account. But the website, for example, is a 2-payment deal. So half of it is paid to start the project. The second half is paid when you are satisfied and it's ready to go live. Okay, so it's not an all upfront thing. So just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. So we're paying for the service up front through CI Web Group, and then you're paying us. So that being said, the next portion is a kind of a workshop, working lunch. She's going to start to dig into some website and some geeky coding stuff and tell you why stuff works and why it doesn't. So I would encourage you to stay around for at least a little while. And if you have the cojones to have her look at your site, that would be cool too. All right. So parking validation right here. Lunch is in the room next door. So you'll grab your lunch and then come back in here. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, you guys.
I meant to say that up front, and I totally forgot.